I would have to say my life has been built on inclusion, and whatever I did to bring those around me with me and have them appreciate the scenario as well. I remember when I was young, you grew up in Portland, Oregon, so you're not directly involved with the struggle, as it were. It was a different type of struggle here. And in some ways, I feel like assimilation was our worst enemy. But I appreciated, and I think that's why I love being a band member and love being in school. Because when everybody gets it, you feel a different sense of fulfillment than if it was just solitary or an individualistic thing. So I think my contribution has always been wanting everyone to be included. Education was always a big part of my upbringing. My grandmother and my mother were very, very instrumental in making sure that we could read really well. And somehow I think that one little thing is sort of lost on a few generations. Reading is so fundamental to who and what we are. It's like you can be the poorest person in the world, but with a book, it can take you to foreign lands. It can inspire you. So education was extremely important to me. And I remember my fourth grade teacher, Mrs. Morrison, at Humboldt Elementary. She says, "Calvin, just work hard and you can get wherever you go." So when I look back over my life, I think of some of the great teachers that I had. Whether it was Coach Lopez at Benson or Calvin Freeman, who was a student teacher from Reed when I was at Jefferson, the great Ron Herndon, McKinley Burt, Dr. Fred Little, Daryl Milner. We've been so dispersed that we no longer have a sense of what our community was. That was one of the most beautiful things I had about Portland, Oregon, right? It's like we had black folks doing everything. We may have been confined to a certain area, but I have to tell you, the inspiration that I got every day from the Nate Probies and the Roy Jays and the Donnie Adaires and the Ken Berries, and Dr. Winston Rogers, my seventh grade teacher, who had been a Tuskegee Airman, right? I remember him well because he had three blazers. One was red, one was white, and one was blue. So I think bringing us back and realizing and stopping the bickering and fighting, and not succumbing to the things that they tempt us with, right? And I think that those are the things that we can never, that's a worry for me. It's like young black children now, young African American children now, growing up in this area, a lot of them have been shuttled off to the east side, right? Where there are 10 or 12 merging cultures all fighting for a level of significance, if you will. So that's what worries me. And it can't necessarily just be the church, nor can it be just education, the things that were the foundations of our generation. I think it's going to have, we have those people who have knowledge of that need to get a little bit of themselves, right? So that this next generation knows from whence they came.